Are you part of a nonprofit organization, a youth group looking to raise cash for your cause? Stay tuned at the end of this video to learn how you can bring the action and excitement of the Millennium Wrestling Federation to your town live, featuring the superstars and legends of yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Join WWE, Mattel, and Toys R Us in a teaming to benefit Make-A-Wish with this custom John Cena action figure, designed by Make-A-Wish child Alex from Los Angeles. The figure will be available exclusively at Toys R Us beginning Tuesday, August 15th, and you can pre-order yours right now through July 31st at toysrus.com. Mattel will be donating a portion of the proceeds to Make-A-Wish.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, welcome to another installment of Wrestling Insiders. Some great summer series videos. I'm Dan Marotti, along with the one and only Mr. John Cena Sr. Johnny, thank you for joining us once again.
It's always an honor. You know that, my friend, as long as you're on that side and I'm on the side.
There you go. Believe me, that ain't changing. We reached out to the fans on Twitter. We wanted to get some questions for them. We received many. We'll try and barrel through as many as we can. In this video, Eunice Torres asked, what do you think of the Mae Young tournament starting this week, taped out of Full Sail University in Orlando, Florida, Johnny? A tribute to the great Mae Young, WWE Hall of Famer, a close friend of the Fabulous Moolah, you might say.
Very close friend of the Fabulous Moolah. They might say they were one. I think it's an honor and a tribute to do something like that for Mae, but why not and make it a double tribute? What about the Fabulous Moolah? What are they doing for her? You know what? I mean, you have to look at this in the light in which I kind of look at things. Equality. They both were superstars in their day. They both changed the way that people looked at women's wrestling. Sure, Mae had a different thing. She did a lot of other things that Moolah never had a chance to do. Sexual chocolate. She did the Flash thing. I mean, you know, and she was in the ring still wrestling. You got to give her credit. So this is a tribute to that and to the women involved in professional wrestling. I think it's a good thing. I think the participants that are coming in, I think it'll be a great little show. I think it'll be something to see and something to remember.
32 women from around the world, Johnny. I know you are a big advocate of women's wrestling. I've said it before, I've said it again, I am not the biggest fan of women's wrestling. I think under the right circumstances it's a good thing. But I'll say here, I think the idea of the tournament itself is a great thing. And I'd love to see WWE create an all-women show for the network, for the fans that are advocates of women's wrestling like you are. I think that would be a huge hit.
I think you might be onto something there, only because of the success of Glow on Netflix. It proves that, and Glow is comedy and wrestling, let's be real. They have the first one they did, which gave you the history of Glow. Then they come up with their miniseries, which I watched. The miniseries of Glow, you know what? It's a drama mixed with wrestling. You
don't like the Glow?
It's okay.
All right. Well, I've heard mixed
Nikki
reactions.
Bella thinks it's a wonderful thing.
She likes it.
And she loves it. And that's why we can agree to disagree and still be friends. But my whole thing is, I think done correctly, a women's wrestling show, all women's wrestling show, would be successful. And when you look at some of the talent they have today, I think it would be very successful. Because some of these young ladies, and I've spoke about it before, you have Natalya, you have Sasha, you have Becky Lynch, you have Charlotte, you have some great athletes involved in this business today. I think it would be tremendous. And WWE, you know, Vince is always reaching out there, taking a shot, taking a risk. Why not reach out, take a risk, take a shot, and see what happens.
I think right now, as far as the two brands of WWE women's talent go, this goes back to when the draft took place last summer, and I had a concern about it, is that there's so few women on each roster, you see the same matches over and over again, and I think the fans are getting bored with it, to be honest. You see this, nothing's fresh with it, so to speak.
How many times can you have the same steak
Right.
and say it's good? So what you need to do is switch things up. And the way to do that is you've got a lot of good female talent. So I hate to use this word, Mr. Trump, but why not allow them to cross the border? Why not have that little bit of interchange? Why not have that women's SmackDown invasion or the women's NWO? Why not have? Yeah, but it's possible. Think about it. Yeah, you look and you go, oh, it's not going to work.
No, that's an awful idea.
Yeah, but you know what? It's like you and I and Roman Reigns. You love the guy. I think that...
Different story for different time. I think the mistake that was made was, and I understand WWE really wants to position the women as superstars, not divas, and so on and so forth, but I think where they only had a dozen women to play with, so to speak, they all should have been on one show.
I disagree with that. I think that...
Well, at least it would be more fresh than what's on right now each week, no?
There's a lot of talent in NXT.
All right.
There's a lot of talent that hasn't been brought up from NXT. Whose fault that is, I have no idea. I'm none of my business. I'm not the kingpin. My whole thing is that I think it's good to have here and here. I think it makes sense. I think it also makes sense to have that border crossing, to have that little element of watch what's going to happen now. I think it could work. I think it would work. And you laugh at, well, the NWO work with the guys, but it's never going to work with the women. That's wrong. That's a poor attitude. It doesn't have to be NWO. It could be a women's shield, and you'll laugh at that too. Yeah, see? But the fact of the matter is, do you like the coffee? I don't know. I never tried it. Well, you know what, Vince? Until you go out there on the limb, make sure you don't have a saw, and make sure when you cut the branch, you cut it from the front and not the back. I think anything's worth a shot right now. And why do I say that? Because I think the wrestling product right now is not appreciated. It's underbaked, underappreciated because of a lot of the storylines and because of the direction it's heading in.
What do you think of some of the quote-unquote historic matches WWE has tried to put together for the ladies over the past year? You had one that I think was a great success, and you had one that I think kind of flopped. The success being the recent, which actually turned into two all-women Money in the Bank matches. First at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view itself, then 9 days later as a result of James Ellsworth's interference.
Well, here's what I'm going to say about that.
All right.
First of all, they cheapened that match.
Really?
I understand.
I didn't expect this. I thought you were going to love it.
I understand. No.
All right.
I am absolutely not a fan of what they did with that match. Why do I say that? One more time, a historic event for female wrestlers where a woman was going to win a Money in the Bank event without the assistance of anyone. We now have a man coming in to go, look what I did. It ruined the whole concept of what they tried to do. I'm sorry. I don't think it was the right thing to do. I didn't appreciate it. I think it demeaned and brought down what could have been a great historical moment in women's wrestling. It was advertised as a historical moment. For the first time ever, it's a woman's all Money in the Bank. You know what? That's like advertising a woman's cage match and have Ellsworth with clippers cutting a hole, so it just didn't work. I'm sorry.
So I misunderstood. You didn't feel Money in the Bank is cheapened by having a women's match. You feel it's cheapened by the finish.
Thank you very much. No.
Well, I'll agree with you on that. I didn't like the finish either.
No.
But those girls, my worry ahead of time was that it was a really dangerous position. Those female bodies are not as big as the guys, and they took some real
heavy physical
risks out there.
Yep.
Very impressive.
Well, what I've been saying all along, the women deserve credit because they can wrestle as well, if not better than some of the men in that ring. And it proved it at that Money in the Bank match, and that's why I was so upset at the finish.
I'm going to flip the coin on you. The other historic first that WWE tried to present last fall, as a matter of fact, right here in Boston, which was presented as the first female ever main event on a pay-per-view event between Sasha and Charlotte at Hell in the Cell, a match that saw many fans leave the pay-per-view early here in Boston, a match that wasn't received as anything more than maybe an average match because there wasn't anything outside the box. so to speak, done between the two of them. What are your thoughts on that, Johnny? You think they maybe jumped the gun too fast trying to present that?
Took the words out of my mouth. I think what they needed to do was do the Money in the Bank first, if that was their choice. Then it's kind of like, now let's climb the ladder. No pun intended. But then it would have worked. And then you build it up to the point where Hell in a Cell will be Hell in a Cell. You know what? So you put two women in there. Who's going to bleed? Who's going to bang? Who's going to hit the wire? Well, you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah, no, right.
So my whole thought is, I think that they moved too quick. They really wanted to bring this women's division together very quickly, show what the women can do. Major, major mistake. I would have rather seen, and if you watch Glow,
I haven't seen it yet, no.
Well, you should, because Awesome Kong is in the show.
Good friend of ours.
Very good friend. And I want to tell you this. If I didn't know it was her, I wouldn't know it was her in Glow. She's lost a ton of weight. She looks fantastic.
Great.
There is a Hell in a Cell match. Put her up against somebody that really will give us this three-way, four-way, Hell in a Cell, fear to be in the cage because of devastation. Possible, when they advertise for the men, what do they say, Hell in a Cell? Most devastating match in the world. Injuries. That wasn't built up the way it should have been.
And it wasn't executed that way either.
No, it was not done correctly.
I think fans knew ahead of time it probably wasn't going to have that style of presentation, Johnny. But here's my thing that I worry about, and I'm going to pass this off to you after I make the statement. I would bet you $1 between now and, say, next year's SummerSlam, if things don't change, at least on the Raw side, I wouldn't be surprised if you see a fan revolt similar to how you see with Cena and Roman Reigns in recent years. I think fans right now, you had some quote-unquote glory moments, but right now the women are pushed so hard in their face. A lot of the times the matches aren't outstanding. I mean, it's still a big improvement from what it was in recent years, but in recent years they weren't shoved in your face as much, being told that you're supposed to accept them on par with the guys. So they've raised the expectations. In a lot of cases, again, it's nothing against the women, but their matches are not as solid and stiff as the guys. And I would not be surprised if you go to a Brooklyn, New York for a SummerSlam or a venue like that at some point, and they turn against them, a Sasha Banks or a Bayley.
I think part of the problem is you have these female wrestlers that they're trying to make into these super giants. Sasha's a personal friend. I remember when I used to work the indie shows with her. Great human being, great young lady. Take a look at her frame. Where does she belong? You see where I'm going with this? So you're creating the unbelievable, and the fans are sitting back and going, you know what, please, don't give me the boss stuff. She's not the boss. She's got no posse. She's got this. You know, so I think what they really need to do, and I don't think there's so much shoving the women down your throat as much as they might be regressing a little bit, where it's a woman's match. You know what I'm trying to say on that? Rather than allowing these young ladies to go out and say, here's your match, go out there and perform. Look at that Japanese wrestler, the female wrestler. There's
Asuka.
No holds but
she's great.
Well, but what am I saying to you?
She goes out there and kicks ass.
She goes out and says, you know what? We have to wrestle. I wrestle.
Well, I don't know if she said it quite like that.
Right, but the fact of the matter is they're holding some of these women back, and they shouldn't. Get out there and do your thing.
Do you think that in a case maybe with Bayley and Sasha Banks, maybe it isn't as believable where they're so slight? I mean, they're very lovely women.
They destroyed Bayley.
They're athletes, but ...
I agree. I agree with that. I think that you hit the nail on the head there. I think they need to do what you and I are discussing about. They need to fit the puzzle, the mold of these athletes to the puzzle so it makes sense. You see where I'm going with this? You've got a cruiserweight division. You've got a heavyweight division. They haven't done this with the females.
I'm trying right now. I'm debating in my mind whether to share a secondhand story from someone heavily in the mix with things.
I probably wouldn't.
I wouldn't
do that.
name any names.
Yeah,
but
you know what?
You know
just
what?
by the fact of saying it, somebody's going to go, "Oh, that comes from John Cena."
No, you know me. I never name names.
You don't have to. But just by telling a story, somebody might be able to figure out who said it.
I'll tell you off the air. I think it'll be a valid point.
But I think the women deserve the credit. I think they need to build it up differently. I wouldn't be afraid to come in with a women's shield factor to try to take over both sides. I think that's a good thing. You're switching it up. You're making a storyline. You're involving everybody into it. Right now, it's just not there. And I feel bad because the women are not getting the push that they really deserve.
I'm going to come up with another one for you, Johnny, that I didn't even plan on
How
mentioning.
many questions we got here?
No, this is just one question from your friend Eunice Torres, but nonetheless, Nia Jax.
I don't even know Eunice.
Nia, she wants to know you.
Oh, really?
She wants to know you. Anyway, she heard your comments about south of the border, and she said you're welcome to go down under any time, but nonetheless.
Another story for another time.
Nia Jax, and I don't mean it like that. Nia Jax, you have, again, a bigger woman, a tremendous athlete. She goes out there and kicks ass. But we talked about Awesome Kong a few minutes ago. Similar. She went out there, she kicked ass. They played it up like she was. She was a female King Kong going out there, kicked ass, took no prisoners. Nia Jax, well, how did they get her over Michael Cole? Oh, she's one of the greatest WWE divas that was a plus-size female model. And it's like, just castrate her. And I know she doesn't have the
cojones.
You know what I mean? The cojones for it. But I mean, you're taking away from what they can use to get her over with people.
But you see what's
they don't want to see her as a plus-size model. They want to see her as, it's wrestling.
As a professional wrestler.
Jeez.
And that's what they're taking away. You know, Sasha Banks, black belt in karate, taekwondo. She not only wrestles, but she can do this and can do that. Put her over. Who cares if you're a model? See, that's the problem they had in the past. It was all TNA. Pillow fights, lace fights, slip fights, bra fights. That was wrong.
Sounds like a weekend at your house.
Well, it's a fabulous weekend. But it was wrong. That's wrong. And that's the problem you're having here. I don't know whether it's the writers. I don't know whether it's the idiots at the desks. I have no idea. But you can't do that. You don't see them doing that with the male talent, do you?
Well, it really all depends on the character. But you wouldn't see them do it, I guess an analogy might be Nia Jax might be on par with a Big Show or a Kane. And you wouldn't present a big guy like that foolishly, I think.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I get the
point.
point.
So it doesn't make sense. Equality is important. Equality is important. And I've been a stickler on that a long time. I won't change on the women's division at all.
Those women have trained awfully hard to get where they are right now. They deserve opportunities. I just don't want to see a backlash against them that maybe they don't even deserve. And I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with that statement, but I'm just telling you how I see it through my eyes.
Who are you going to blame? The writers?
I have experienced eyes.
Creative? Writers? Who are you going to blame? Commentary? You know, it only can go so
far. The ladies can only deliver what they're given.
That's exactly right.
Right.
You know what? And I've heard it 1,000 times. When I was back there, it was the same thing. This is what you're supposed to do. Just go out and do it. Well, that's how it is in this business. If you're told to lay down, you lay down. But there's a right way to lay down and a wrong way to lay down. There's
Those
a right
are the
way
instructions you give every weekend during the pillow fight.
Yeah, well, there's a right way to put somebody over and a wrong way to put somebody over. And I think that they're not doing it the right way. And you know what? All you have to do is, and I don't follow these internet warriors, this ECW or whatever it is, ICW wrestling, whatever the hell they call themselves. Internet wrestling community, I guess that's what they call themselves. Man, you talk about marks. Holy mackerel, I really learned what the word means. We're all marks. If we're in this business, we're marks. But these people have no clue what's going on.
Well, you know, it's just a percentage. I mean, everybody uses the internet right now. So is everyone that's a wrestling fan that uses the internet fall into that group? No.
I don't think I use it for that.
I think there are some fans that maybe take it overboard, take it a little bit too seriously, but there are just some that have a great passion for it, and I can respect that. I think that's one reason why the fans have, in most cases, liked me over the years. Maybe not some of the people in the wrestling, but we won't even go there. But as far as this Mae Young tournament goes, what would you like to see happen in the end? They're taping both. As a matter of fact, I believe the first taping is tonight, then they're taping the second group tomorrow, then there's going to be a live special in Las Vegas in September, replacing 205 Live that week, where the winner is going to be crowned. Would you like to see more talent signed to NXT? More talent perhaps that's ready for TV brought to Raw or SmackDown? Would you like to see the all-women's platform that I had discussed?
You know what? You, WWE, Triple H, Vince McMahon, you're not going to like my answer.
I want to hear it, though.
I think all three.
Everything.
I think that it could be, this is a major opportunity. You've got all this marvelous talent. Why can't you cut the pie three ways? Why can't you make this work for everybody? You got the elite of the elite, supposedly, is what you're bringing in. So why not make the most of the elite of the elite? Why not do this and make it work? That's just me. That's my thought.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, fans. You can look forward to seeing it on WWE Network throughout the summer. And then again, there's that big live special. I believe it's September the 13th. Don't quote me on that, but I believe the second Tuesday in September, live from Las Vegas, Nevada, directly after SmackDown Live, the finals of the tournament are going to take place. And I'm really interested to see a lot of new female faces. I certainly hope it's a successful endeavor for all. And I just would like to see a little bit more variety. I'd like to see the ladies, certain ones used a little bit more sporadically instead of being on TV every week, so the fans are excited to see them when they come out instead of saying, oh, she's on again? Okay, let me see what the score of the baseball game is. You know what I mean? I want to see everybody do good, Johnny, because when everybody does good, it gets more fans to the arena, it gets more network subscriptions, it sells more merchandise, it creates more brands, it creates more jobs, and everybody's happy. That's all I want.
I can't argue.
Well, everyone says I sound like an asshole, Johnny, so I don't know.
Well, that's another story for another time.
There you go.
See?
All right, fans, do not forget about the Make-A-Wish figure. You can pre-order it online at ToysRUs.com, as well as look for it in the stores on the Jackal's birthday, Tuesday, August the 15th. The only store you can get it at, Johnny?
Toys R Us.
Unbelievable. Help out the great kids from Make-A-Wish. Until we speak again, folks, you and yours, be well. The Millennium Wrestling Federation's 15th anniversary tour begins this fall and rolls into 2017 throughout New England, down the East Coast, and into the Carolinas. If your nonprofit organization is looking for an interactive, turnkey experience while putting the fun into fundraising, you've met the perfect tag team partner. MWF offers a variety of packages for groups of almost any size. From our live events at the Boston Garden, the Kowloon Entertainment Dining Complex, and the legendary Suffolk Downs, to high school gyms and function halls, we've presented live events everywhere. Since 2001, the MWF's mission has been simple: keep the kids off the streets. Under the leadership of President Dr. David Reese, we bring the superstars of yesterday, today, and tomorrow to your town, not for a quote-unquote wrestling show, but an event that features action-packed in-ring wrestling, autograph and pose photo opportunities, question and answer sessions, and much more. It is the best of sports and entertainment. The week of your event, we can add on to the endeavor with anti-bullying campaigns, library meet and reads, youth sport concussion seminars, and more. Our live events are fit for fans of every age, from 5 to 95. This fall, as part of our new Kids Club program, we offer live event experiences exclusively for the youngest of fans. On the flip side, we can also produce a tailor-made event for fans of an older demographic as well. We work with you every single step of the way to get the word out to fans near and far, on our local television offerings, and to over 50,000 fans and growing on our social media platform. Your success is our success. If your group has had enough of boring candy bar and wrapping paper sales and has the energy to team with our passionate fan base, bringing the MWF experience to your community is the answer to put smiles on faces while raising cash for your cause. Contact us today to get the ball rolling for your custom-made event that you'll want to bring back year after year. Don't just take it from us. Here are folks we've teamed with in the past.
You already know Kowloon Restaurant, established in 1950 and spanning 4 generations, serves a multi-Asian menu. Did you also know that Kowloon Restaurant is New England's premier Asian dining and entertainment complex, serving Cantonese, Szechuan, Thai, and Polynesian cuisine? And did you know that Kowloon Restaurant is also the home of the finest Japanese sushi? If you haven't dined at Kowloon Restaurant lately, then you simply haven't dined at Kowloon. Kowloon Restaurant, Route 1 North in Saugus.